literally DM all of those local brands, literally DM all of those
100%.
modeling agencies.
Take two. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. But yeah, Rago, excited to have you on the WLMA Weddings and Wine podcast and everything. And you just hit six figures, which I'm super excited about. It's only been 2 years since we started working together and everything. And you're a six-figure wedding photographer, fashion photographer, portrait photographer. So we have a lot to talk about that I'm super excited about. We can hit a lot of niches. A lot of people are going to learn from this episode. But so people get a little bit more of a background, of you, what you're all about and everything. Tell me a little bit about your story. How did you get into the photography business in general?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Jordan, for having me. It's been a pleasure always talking to you. Hi, everybody. My name is Rago Alasa. I'm from Rago Images LLC, and I'm currently based in Washington, D.C., so let me know if you're around. I started out as a digital marketing manager. It's a full-on, 9 to 5 office job back in Jakarta, Indonesia. That's where I'm from. And I had to produce my own content, so naturally I had to pick up a camera and then work with my team. So I started out, like all of us, trying out every single type of photography, products, buildings, real estates, food, and people. And I fell in love with shooting people at the time, and then I worked with some modeling agencies to produce the content for my company. So not my company, but the company that I work for was a hospitality group industry. So they did restaurants, bars, hotels, and clubs. So they needed models for their content. So that's how I started out my fashion photography. It went from that to shooting catalogs, comp cards for the models, like in-house photographers, runways, some commercials here and there, but still, keeping my main job. So this is just like a part-time job. And then I also started out doing weddings because some of my friends love my work, and then that's how I delve into this wedding business. And then I moved to the States in 2019, expecting to work similar, but then COVID happened, and then everything just shifted. Like all of my plans were ruined, so I need to shift the gear. I mean, everybody can relate to this. But yeah, 2020, I started out establishing the LLC. It's been a pleasure. It's been a whirlwind, of course, but I had so much fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Huge transition as well. And I guess, when you first started your business in 2020, and say that first 6 to 12 months, when you're first starting out the business, trying to figure out everything from scratch, what do you feel like you were struggling with the most when you were first trying to grow the business? The strategies, what do you feel like you didn't know and you realized that you needed to know? Yeah, what did you struggle with most in the beginning stages?
Yeah, so if I could break it down to 3 points, basically the first one is definitely my branding. Like, what is my brand? Who am I as an artist? As a photographer, I didn't know what I want, but probably I did, but I didn't have the courage to lean into it, like embrace it. So that's what I struggled the most. On top of that, my methods and workflow to create this solid branding was all over the place. Like I didn't know where to start or what to do, mainly because I didn't have a mentor or nobody was helping me then. It was just kind of like winging it and then playing it by ear, you know what I mean? So all of those affects the most, I think, important struggle back then was, and I think I'm still struggling now, but less is my mindset. So I was struggling with the imposter syndrome as an immigrant, entering an American market, only 2 years, professionally. Like, who am I? Like, I'm not good enough. Like, there's so many other great photographers with 5, 10, 20 years of experience. I can never compete with these people. So that's probably the most annoying struggle that I have to overcome. It's still there, but it's getting better.
Yeah, and you just hit pretty much the trio. I'm writing it down right now. That trio where a lot of people struggle. 1, brand. 2, strategies, and then 3, like mindset, mentality, so you can really push through those things. Curious about, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this. You said that you knew you kind of knew what you wanted as far as brand, but you struggled with actually implementing that. What did you know was going to be your brand, and how did you find that?
Yeah, so I changed my website design so many times up until I know that this is me. So as well as like going to weddings, like my workflow from the morning up until the end of the weddings, I changed so many things. Not change, more like adapt and like tweak some stuff a little bit. So by doing that, like the trial and errors, I learned a lot. As well as all of the rejections, the failures. I used to take it personally, thinking that it's me. This is because of me, where in fact it's not about me. It's about my experience doing these things are very, very minimum or little to no experience. So the more I do it, the more confident I become. And I feel like that is what is going to, keeping me, within this way of thinking. And I don't think I will stop anytime soon. This is just going to be even, nothing up but up from here.
Awesome. So a big part of it was like a lot of trial and error. It's like you had your website, you had a kind of idea of what your ideal client was. And as you started seeing, more people who maybe weren't good fits continually chipping away, especially when it came to the website, when it came to the copy, when it came to design to attract a very specific client, and just chipping away pretty much like a sculpture to gradually get closer to that vision. Is that kind of what that experience was like?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. You mentioned a little bit about like imposter syndrome. How did that imposter syndrome when it came to growing and starting your business get there? How did you feel like the journey looked like? Start when it comes to overcoming those things.
I don't think I've overcome it yet because I'm still having it, just to be honest, but it's getting better. And it's less more of a personal issue now. It's more about comparing myself, which is so bad in the industry, to compare yourself with other people. But I guess the way I did better in terms of this stuff is just that keep myself busy. When you're busy, when you have so much thing to do, for your own business, to achieve your dream, I think you will have less time to think about other people.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And that was such a huge thing for me as well, because I think every entrepreneur has experienced some sort of imposter syndrome, at some point,
Yeah.
and some people still do, even at the highest level, some people still do. And one thing that I felt like really helped for me is those failures that we talked about that we go through. And those little failures we go through, and at the same time, we're having those little wins. And it's like every win we make, it starts building more competence in yourself, building more confidence in yourself. Maybe when you hit that certain milestone, you're just kind of like, I'm doing this. Like, I don't need to feel this way. I'm actually achieving the things and getting to the things that I want to achieve and everything. And, we talked a little bit about brand. We talked a little bit about mindset. And then you finally reached 6 figures. And I believe, kind of seeing it from a bird's eye view, that it was because of a compilation of the trio, you know, mindset, brand, and then also strategies. What are the strategies that you feel like changed from when you're struggling with your business to reaching six figures? What do you feel like those things were?
Yeah, basically, I think marketing is important in this industry, and you know, the presence of your social media, your website, it's imperative at this point. So probably, I think the first key marketing strategies that I learned to get here is the authentic style of my work. I really honed in on my craft to figure out like this is who I am. So this is what I will present to the clients. This is what they can check out all over my social media. Everything is the same, which brings me to my second point is the consistency.
Yeah.
Stick to it, like plan everything in advance and just stick to it, because if sometimes I know that everybody has like downtime, you're getting lazy or just tired. When you have a plan, that you already scheduled, you can just follow it. Even though you're tired, at least you have something to look back to. Like there's an anchor that you can always come back to. Also, I think what's important is to be personal with your content. Show yourself as the man or the woman behind the camera, like behind this empire, behind this brand. So I think clients will relate to that more, instead of just being a very, I don't know, like a cold company like brand, because especially photography, especially wedding photography, is something that is very emotional, I feel. Like you have to connect with people emotionally. With fashion, it's different. You know, we can talk about that later. But wedding photography, I think being personal in your marketing strategies is really important.
So it sounds like a huge part from that growth. One, it seems like your marketing was very organic, but it was so relatable, pretty much, because you know, one, you made sure it was a brand that was authentic. People could really see you for who you are, and a style of work that really resonated with a particular style of client as well. One, consistency, because especially when it comes to organic, consistency is key. You know, like you pretty much need to be posting week to week. You know, I often find with YouTube, you know, even with like YouTube, you gotta post like at least once a week for like 2 years and everything. So really, because the thing is, if you stop, it's almost like you have to start again, kind of thing. So that was something that, you know, that consistency was key for you in as far as organic marketing. And then personal. And when you mean personal, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like sometimes even talking outside of business, outside of your photography, just showing your personal life? What exactly do you mean by that as far as personal?
It really depends on who you are as a person. I feel like as an individual, I see a lot of, you know, great photographers out there with different types of personalities. For example, like the people I met at the retreat, like Christora, Tom, Brittany, Hunter, they have so many different type of personality, but they do it personally to their audience, to their clients, which is great because they are the ones who know their clients. So I think you, as a viewer, as a photographer, needs to know your clients. That's first and foremost. So that way you know how to communicate with them. But at the same time, don't change yourself to suit to suit the market. You have to do it vice versa. Like you have to lead and have the authority of your brand, so that way you will catch all of these clients that want to work with you because they know who you are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Now, if you were to advise someone, like as far as the organic marketing and their social media, what would you advise them as far as like how much should be like showing off their work? How much should be just like personal and being personalizing things a little bit more? What would you think what would you advise those ratios to be?
I think once you achieve a very structured, solid information within your website, for example, or your social media, and you know how to educate them of your services, let's say what you offer are these and these and these, and these are what you're going to get, set their expectation, educate them what they're going to get. Once you've achieved that, then the personal touch can be like a nice cherry on top of that. And I feel like if you start oversharing in the beginning without telling them who you are or what you offer or the values that you offer, I think it could, read into some unprofessionalism. So I feel like start with the basic first and then, add the personal touch.
Yes. So kind of like this is a random example, but it's kind of like you have an ice cream cone. That ice cream cone is like the core. The vanilla is the core of the business stuff you share, the value that you share with whatever your niche is and everything for those clients. And then you can start sprinkling in like sprinkles, chocolate that add a little bit more personality of your personal life, what you're all about, and other aspects outside of business and everything.
Yes, I love this analogy. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
It's 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime, Jordan.
I know. I haven't even eaten yet. I'm starving too. But awesome. Love that. Love that. So what I'm super interested in learning more about, because I know nothing about fashion photography, I guess, how would you describe your experience as a fashion photographer? What do you find are the major differences working in the fashion niche, compared to the wedding photography industry as well?
Oh my gosh. Fashion is my baby. I started out with that. I relate to it. I live in it, breathe in it. And my experience has been very fast paced, very creatively challenging, but also super fun. I guess that's what makes me, want to endure everything. Like the price of admission I'm willing to pay because of the fun itself. I've been working with amazing, talented people and in amazing projects, and I do not plan to stop. The portfolio is just keep compounding, and the major differences between fashion and wedding are probably the clients. So, like I mentioned before, when you work as a wedding photographer, you're working for couples to just the two of them, probably family. So you want to impress them with your work for their special day. Like for fashion, you work for brands or models or individuals who need content. So it's kind of like the difference is also the expectation. When you work for brands and models, you want to sell something. You want to sell the products. You want to sell the clothes, the accessories, or just brand awareness of the brand itself. And you want to make art, like beautiful, printed, ready art, or you want to put it on the billboard somewhere. But with wedding couples, that you want to create memories for them that they can cherish forever. So it's, like I said, it's more emotional, it's more delicate. And I think the other difference is also the concept. For fashion photography, it's more freeing, not really limiting. You can test out a lot of stuff, different lighting techniques, editing style, but still you can be consistent with your brand. But with weddings, I think it's more structured. Already, like everybody knows already what to do. There's some different things that you have to hit. Either, traditional American, Indian weddings, Muslim weddings, like African weddings. I've shot Jamaican wedding before. Like the cakes are different, something like that. You just need to adapt to different weddings, but overall, it's kind of like already structured. So
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have fun or be creative, but you can't do too much, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Do you ever do like the runway stuff, or is it mainly like the portraits, just like portrait sessions with the creativity that you mainly want to do?
Yeah, so I've done both. I did New York Fashion Week like last September, but also I keep getting inquiries of portraits,
Yeah.
and portraits for people like, for example, they want to do birthday portraits and they want to do a studio type of lighting. I have my own studio. This is where I work. You know, it's my apartment, so you can write it off. So that's good, tax deductible. But at the same time, around the DC area and New York City, which is 3 hours away, some brands invited me over to shoot their catalogs, some commercials. So that's probably what is different with fashion and weddings. But I love them both. So I love how different they are, but at the same time, they could be similar at the same time.
Exactly. And it's almost, in a way, it's almost like a certain niche of like commercial photography, since you're working specifically with these brands. And I've never, pursued anything in fashion, but what I've seen, what it seems like I've seen people do wrong, when they pursue fashion. I usually see them searching for the models when it comes to trying to grow their business. But really, it seems like you want to focus on, after you have that portfolio, reaching out towards the brands, because that's
The
where
brands.
the money's at as far as
Yes.
that. Yeah. If you were to give someone advice as far as like growing a fashion business and like they had no clue where to start, how would you advise them?
Well, if you're trying to do one thing at a time, either just fashion or just weddings, I think, or you want to do both like me, I think you have to be stubborn with your goal, but flexible with your method. So when you have goals to achieve and then you are stuck or you don't feel like you're growing, don't change the goal, change the methods, I feel.
Yeah.
And then, stop comparing yourself with others, like I said before, because it will just consume your energy and your time.
Yeah.
And also, don't be afraid to look stupid, meaning like if you don't understand something, reach out, find a mentor, learn from YouTube, learn from courses, ask questions to people who have been doing this for a long time. Don't be afraid to look stupid, I feel like.
How did you get in contact with the right brands and everything as well, so you could work and do sessions under them? How did that process look like for you, especially moving to the United States and everything, starting from scratch?
Yeah. So I think if you ask fashion photographers out there, even if they're established, I think more than 50% of their work is like free stuff, like collab stuff. Like you collab with influencers with huge followings, or just like very beautiful people. So your followers just will look at amazing portfolio. That's how I started out. I started out just reaching out to my friends, and then over time, brands like Berries, like Soul Cycle, like I can't name everything, but they reached out to me because they see, I can see my brand getting shot by you, and you already have the portfolio of the models, so I can just send you the stuff, the products. And then network is also important. Networking, reaching out to your friends or colleagues that you've worked with before. That's how I landed the job at New York Fashion Week, actually, because this brand called Rago from Indonesia, they're very huge there. So they want to enter the U.S. market. They want to elevate their brand because they're more like a B2C clients, so they want to hit that A clients by making it like a more couture, a more avant-garde brand in terms of fashion. So they want to enter the New York Fashion Week, and they did. And they were looking for a photographer, and I am an Indonesian, and I know one of the co-founders. That's how I got it. So, and after that, the American brands the local brands in DC or big brands like Lacoste, hired me because they saw me working with them. So it's just keep going like that. And I feel
That's
like
awesome.
I should, if you're listening now and then you're trying to make it, don't think too far ahead. Like try to reach out to local artists, MUA, like makeup artists, hair, stylists, models. You guys are all aspiring, so why don't you help each other? So create some dope, amazing photo shoot, test shoots, and then just keep posting. You never know who's going to see them. Keep reaching out to, literally DM all of those local brands, literally DM all of those
100%.
modeling agencies. Don't be afraid to look stupid or
Love that.
what do you call that? Like begging for it. Well, if you don't put yourself out there, nobody can see you.
Exactly.
So I guess that's what I can say.
Love that. And I think that's super important that you mentioned. One, in the very beginning, it's a lot of shooting for free. And so a lot of photographers need to understand that in the very, even for weddings, if you're really just in the beginning stages or, mid-tier stages of growing your wedding business, you're going to be doing a lot of engagement sessions. Some of it for a lower cost than you want, some of it for free. So you can build a very distinct brand, and that's actually building that network. So for you, it was shooting a lot of these things for free, collaborating a lot, which opened up time opportunities to network, and that continues just compounding off of each other where you get connected with the right brands. Sometimes it is just DMing the brand once you have a very distinct brand and look that they like, and then you're able to get that connection, build these awesome relationships with these brands and work with them and everything. Is that correct?
Yeah, and even I paid for some of these test shoots and concept shoots, or in wedding photography, we paid for style shoot because
Yeah.
it's like an investment. I feel like
Exactly.
when you either work for free or nothing, no transactionals happening, money being involved. If you have to pay to make stunning portfolio, I think that you should.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's very normal. It's very common.
100%. And I think that's such an important mentality to talk about as well, because sometimes people's photographers' ego, it can be too high too early.
Yes.
It's like, let's start building that momentum now. Once you get to a certain place, at least, getting to that 100K level and everything, and you have that consistency, then you can have a little bit more ego to be like,
Yeah.
okay, like I know what I'm worth and I'm ready to take that on. And the market has proved that to me, type of a thing. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. That's gold right there. Now, do you ever combine fashion disciplines with weddings, and how?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, they're so different, but same at the same time. What I always do is I try to infuse one to the other every time I work. I have different hats every time I go into a studio for a fashion photo shoot, or I go to a farm for a wedding or a church for a wedding. Yeah. Basically, the things that I can combine is like the posings. That's what makes me different, I feel like, with other wedding photographers out there. Yeah. I do posings like I see it in a bridal magazine. And the lighting techniques that I use is what I usually do in the studio anyway. So having a fashion background really helps me with my knowledge in lightings.
Yeah.
Artificial lightings, but also natural lightings. And that makes you, in a way, calm and relaxed because you you will always know what to do. When I feel like people get nervous or scared, it's because they don't understand. So when you
Yeah.
understand what you're doing, I feel like it will take down all of the nerves and like all that nervousness out of the equation, because you can focus on, helping clients and make them comfortable, like more of that type of personal stuff, because the technicality is already in the back. Also, when I combine these two different niches, the things that are same is like if you work as a team. So if you're still starting out and just you and you only one man show, great. Like I've done that for years before. But you're going to end up, doing huge projects, work as a team, with makeup artists, stylists. But at the same time, with a wedding photographer, as a wedding photographer, you will have second shooters. You will work with a videographer, the event planner, and everything, even the DJs and stuff like that. I think because I've accustomed to work like this over and over again, meeting like amazing team, but also some horrible teams. I know what to expect, and and when I see the first red flag, oh, okay, this is that guy again. This is the kind of guy. So I know what to do and what to say at the time. So when you set your expectation low for that kind of environment, and then when you meet people who are actually nice, you'll be happy. And if you don't feel like you don't end up meeting nice or a great team, at least you're prepared.
Yeah, 100%. So it sounds like, especially that, being in fashion, you're used to making a collaborative experience.
Yes.
As far as working with more than one person and everything, and also being a fashion photographer, the poses, the lighting, a lot of it is a lot more flashy, a lot more dramatic, and that also helps you attract a very specific ideal client for your brand and everything as well.
Correct. Yeah, like even when we did couple portraits with a couple of my past wedding couples, they asked me to Rago, can you turn me into a model for a day? I just want to be like in one of your fashion photos. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Let's do that.
Love that. So now, this is one of my favorite questions to ask. So people who feel like they've started out in the same situation as you, where they're struggling with their business, they don't know where to start, they don't know what strategies to learn, they can kind of have a game plan, in their heads as well. So if you were to meet one of these photographers that were starting out in the same boat as you, they're struggling with their business in all different factors, what would be a few pieces of advice you would give them to help them scale, just as quickly, so they could maybe even get to that six-figure level in a year or two?
I think I've mentioned most of them before, but I can recap one more time. Be stubborn with your goal, but flexible with your method. Stop comparing yourself with others and focus on your craft. And don't be afraid to look stupid, asking questions, learn and reach out. But also what I can add to that is this is my personal experience too. Don't try to copy others, because if you watch YouTube videos or just consume content online, the market now is very saturated. Like it's so easy for you to lose track on what you want or who you are as a brand. I would suggest to try not to do that a lot. If you have to do that, use it as an inspiration instead of copying them. Also, find other inspirations from like a super random or obscure places, like newspaper, magazine, books, or from different industry like finance, marketing, like art or something other than photography, I guess
Yeah.
that's the best way for you to be inspired without trying to copy others, because at least you know what you want to do, but you don't know how to get there. Like I said before, try to reach out to people and then add some more inspirations here and there along the way. I feel like I need to tell myself all of these as well, because I'm still learning and I'm still growing. But hopefully we can grow together.
I love that, love that. And especially that, because if copying will only get you so far, you're going to be at a plateau. But when you can really find that authentic brand, that we talked about a lot, that's where you can really build that brand longevity, stand out. And I loved how you mentioned, paying attention to other industries outside of photography. That's honestly where like the strategies we teach in the WLMA originated from. It was like when I was struggling and I was like, what are other businesses doing? Because I'm not learning what I need from other photographers. And when you can also, see what these other businesses are doing, and you can see the principles on like how they're getting leads, how they're building their brand, how they're getting attention, how they're getting higher ticket clients, you can replicate those exact same principles, in your business, and it may be in a much more unique way as well, because you're looking at it from a different window.
Yes, and I don't know how you do it. Like, I still need to, we should chat more often this year.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like I in 2022, I was just, either working too hard or not working too hard, like going on vacation and not caring about work. But this year, I feel like I want to, because I already signed up for the March
Event March 6 to
retreat.
8.
I can't wait to visit your
I'm
hometown, and talk more and more active on the Discord channels with the other guys. Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you as well. And maybe even before then, we'll get you on some coaching calls with me and Crystal. We'll dive into some of those things and help you take things even further. But yeah, I'm excited to see you on the retreat March 6 to 8. And where can we find you as well? Where can others find you?
Yeah, so if you want to check out my stuff, it's ragoimages.com, RAGO images.com. It's my website. Basically, it's the hub for everything. But if you want to check out my Instagram and Facebook, it's at Rago Images and at Rago Images Weddings with S. So Rago Images is for the fashion and the portraits, and the Rago Images Weddings are for the weddings. I still don't have active TikTok yet. I'm planning to, Pinterest and everything, but I feel like reach out to me, DM me, because I travel a lot, so I want to collab with you as well. Yeah, let's be friends.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much, Rago. This was super valuable. Can't wait to post this.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan.